Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kayfabe Central podcast, and welcome back to another Monday Night Raw post-show review. This time it is for January 12th, 2026, a special edition of Monday Night Raw that kicked off at 2 p.m. Eastern from I'm trying to Dusseldorf, Germany. I was able to pronounce it.
Dusseldorf.
I was able to pronounce it earlier, guys. I promise. Dusseldorf, Germany. It went live at 2 p.m. Eastern, so that is why we have a post show at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And what is it, 9:30 over there, Rue?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a very early post show, but this is nice. And especially nice for me because I get to watch my Steelers play and destroy the Texans tonight. So I get to watch that very happily without having to deal with any wrestling stuff in the midst of it. If you don't know who we are, I'm your host Josh. As always, joining me is Ruan Wrestling,
Hi, yes.
and I see Steven is in the chat. What's going on, Steven?
Hello.
He's jumping over from the TikTok live that Rue does. And if you guys don't know that Rue does watch alongs, usually it's for SmackDown. But you know they're on a European tour in WWE, so he is doing the Monday Night Raws for while they are in Europe. So make sure you guys go check out Ruan Wrestling's live watch alongs. They are very entertaining, and you will find me in the chat somewhere as well. So they're a lot of fun, and then we come on here on the post show and have some more fun, and we talk about everything that went down, the things that we liked, the things that we disliked, and the things we just outright hated. So we are going to be talking all that stuff here on the Monday Night Raw post show. Before we get into that, though, you guys know the drill. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you're not already. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews. Speaking of interviews, it is a big week for Kayfabe Central. We have two interviews coming this week. So a very loaded day tomorrow. We have Ref Karen on the Kayfabe sessions, a referee that is based in Buffalo actually, but she comes over to Ontario every now and then to referee. A very informative interview if you want to know the ins and outs of being a wrestling referee. So make sure you guys go check that out. And then on Thursday, we have Brian Samuels on the show on the Kayfabe sessions. He is recently getting his name out there, but he's been involved in some deathmatch stuff and all that good stuff. And he is a very interesting gimmick and character that he explains in that interview. So Tuesday and Thursday, two interviews coming out this week on the Kayfabe Central YouTube channel. I see I ignored some things in the chat here.
As I was
Interested to see
laughing.
why Josh says we're gonna hate him. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to what Steven is talking about because I mentioned something in the live regarding Finn Balor. And I have apparently a different take than a lot of other people on Finn Balor. So we're gonna get into that when we get there. Um, yeah, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Before we dive into the match card, Rue, what did you think of Monday Night Raw overall tonight?
It was fine. Some half decent matches chucked in there. I wouldn't say it was outright. There wasn't like outright bad like some of the Raws we've had over the last year. I always say I struggle to disconnect myself from the live because we'll be sitting, I'll be chatting away to yous and having a great time, and then we'll come on here and it'll be like, oh, that you'll say, oh, that match was really bad, and I'm like, wait, I can't even remember the match because I wasn't paying attention. So I'm like, oh, so I can't really make an informed decision. Overall, I thought it was decent. So some of the matches we got to see a lot of backstage segments, but that's WWE in 2026. Welcome to it. But for the most part, there was a big questionable decision that I'm sure we will talk about later on. Which having gelled in it for a little bit, not the biggest fan of, gonna just say it. But some things, some setup for matches, looking forward to the rest of the tour, I am actually quite excited for.
Indeed. So let's talk about what went down. We kicked off the show with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. They came out and they were boasting about being the new women's tag team champions. Now, I initially thought this was going to set up a tag title match later tonight. It set up something a little bit different, but still set something up later in the night because Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez interrupt. and then followed by Bailey and Lyra Valkyria interrupting this segment as well. They all want the tag team championships. The Kabuki Warriors come out and attack Rhea and Io. That leads to a huge brawl between all these teams, and they didn't announce what the match was until the competitors were making the entrance for the match because they didn't inform us whatsoever that this was
Yeah.
happening
I
tonight.
thought I missed
Uh,
that.
yeah, so I was like, oh, okay, this would have been nice to know earlier, so I could have just put it in the website. So maybe that's just a me thing. But yeah, we ended up getting a triple threat tag number one contenders match later in the night. So we'll talk about that when we cross that bridge. This was a fine opening segment, I guess. It like in the grand scheme of things, it's like, it really mean anything. We know who the number one contenders are. You know what? We might as well talk about that match right now. So we'll tie that into here. We did have the women's tag team championship number one contenders match between Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, the Kabuki Warriors, and Bailey and Lyra. That had Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez coming out on top. Um, so did they announce if that match is happening next week, or did they even announce when that match is happening? Because I
uh,
can't remember if they did.
what the actual title match?
Yeah.
It's Saturday's main event.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. They did say Saturday night's
Yeah.
main event. Okay. So yeah, that is happening at Saturday night's main event in Montreal. So I have mentioned I will be there as well. So that should be a pretty, fun match. I don't know. Do we think that the tag titles change at Saturday night's main event, or is it maybe too early? I'm thinking it might be too early for those titles to be off of Rhea and Io. So I'm thinking Rhea and Io might retain that. Obviously, we'll do our Saturday night's main event predictions when we get there. But um, yeah, I think Rhea and Io are set up to retain.
Yeah, I've got the same opinion. I think we literally talked about this the other day, and the fact that like I just don't see a world at the minute of them getting pinned because I don't think they're going to have the whole Fallout angle because neither of them should go heel. So if we are correct in what we're saying, we're building towards this big multi-woman match at like Mania or somewhere else down the line. That's when I think they might lose it. Obviously, because then you can have them lose it without them having to be pinned or whatever. So I'm with you. I was like kind of early prediction. I think Rhea and Io will retain. I can see Steve saying the same too early just yet at the risk of playing hot potato. So yeah, I think they'll be retaining. It's Saturday's main event.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see Lucy's in the chat. Shout out to everybody that is joining in and showing their support. We all appreciate you. So yeah, that's really that. I don't really have anything else to add onto this tag title scene. I do like that um we have some continuation of this tag title picture that's going on. It doesn't surprise me that Charlotte and Alexa weren't here, or Lash and Nia, because they're more dedicated to SmackDown side of things than Monday Night Raw. I know the brand split, it never means anything in WWE these days. So, they very well could have appeared, but sometimes they like to do that and, have the brand split mean something for a night or two. So they weren't here. Um, we then went to Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, and Finn Balor backstage. Finn Balor was playing 2K. He was playing himself against Cody Rhodes. Maybe a little bit of foreshadowing, potentially. um, but he was playing 2K, and Liv Morgan was the mom who, comes into the living room when their kid is playing video games for too long and says, "Why the hell are you playing video games? You said last week that you are going to put the Judgment Day on your back and you're going to win some gold, and you're here playing 2K." And then Finn Balor says, "You'll see. You'll see what I have." And then we did see it later on in the night, but we'll get into that. Um, did you have anything to say about this segment? Because I don't
Ah,
really have any thoughts.
no, as you said, it was more to set up what we eventually get to later on, which we'll get to. But I mean, could be subtle foreshadowing, could be set up Finn and Cody down the line, maybe. Here, by the way, just on like a completely off topic, I would be interested in seeing that, but the bit hard to get to at the minute. So hill, but yes, this was more to set up something that further down the line.
Excuse me. I haven't ate all day, so I'm taking this time to snack while Root talks.
Should have said I would have spoke longer.
Yeah, exactly. Just like in my head, I'm like, okay, keep talking, keep talking. Just wait. Um, Javon Evans defeated Bravo Americano. I don't see the point in this feud, but Javon Evans is getting TV time, and Javon Evans is just amazing. He's impressive, and he's just fantastic in the ring. And so is I mean Bravo Americano. He is great in the ring. We had him do the airplane spin here as well, which is a very Tyler Bate type thing. Um, I I don't think, and I know you and Steve were talking in your live about how Steve wanted this thing to end with El Grande Americano, and you don't think it's anywhere near its end because of how loved he is in AAA. Let that be a AAA thing. Then getting tired of this. I'm not gonna say I'm sick of it because I think Ludwig is doing a very good job. I think he's doing better than Chad Gable did in this position. Um, but man, like at the end of the day, this is Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. That's Ludwig Kaiser, and I wish they were doing something different than pretending to be luchadors. At one point in time, and yes, I'm going to be that guy. At one point in time, luchadors and lucha libre wrestling was very sacred, and it was, it meant something. You didn't just take a couple British guys and throw them in a luchador mask, or a white guy and put him in a luchador mask. I was kind of against that when they did it at first. But you know what? It is what it is. It's what we're getting. I will say that Ludwig, like I said, is doing a better job than Chad did at this El Grande Americano thing. But yeah, Javon Evans picks up the win. It seems like from what we saw later on, he might be getting involved with the vision stuff. Which you know what, if he's thrown into that, you get him in the main picture there, and you really get him some good reps. He can get some good reps against Austin Theory, Braun Breaker, literally anybody in the vision. I think even a Javon and Logan Paul match might be good,
I
but
say that.
they're still very like kind of green in a way. So I don't know if they'll fully trust those two to go out there by themselves. I can just see like a tag match maybe if those two were involved in the same thing. But yeah, this was a fine enough match.
Yeah, I mean to kind of like calm the worries, I suppose. I think anything here that gets set up is actually for AAA. Because I'm with you, because I almost look at them as two separate universes. Because in AAA, El Grande Americano, I don't know why it works. It just works. They love him down there. I don't know why it is because the whole point is him making fun of their heritage, but they seem to love him. Can't explain why. Um, I can't imagine this Javon thing goes anywhere. If it does, maybe they get an El Grande Americano Javon Evans match, but if it will be in AAA, I don't think we're seeing any continuation of that mini feud, if you want to call it a feud, on the main roster, at all. And yes, as I said, I don't actually foresee the El Grande gimmick going anywhere at the minute because I firmly believe at some point down the line, hopefully again at a AAA event, not at like WrestleMania or whatever. I think they're going to want to do the El Grande versus El Grande match. It's just the most WWE thing to do. I mean, if you try and take the ridiculousness and just kind of frustration out of the match, it's Chad Gable and well, I can't say his name, Chad Gable and Ludwig Kaiser. It will be a cool match, but yeah, I'm kind of with you on the fact that I'm okay with keeping this stuff in AAA. I think it works down there, but on the main roster, I'm not that invested in it. And I won't even talk about the sorrows of it being Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. These two had, one of my matches of the decade at NXT Takeover Chicago for that NXT UK Championship. Um, Two of the best ever. Not just in the UK scene, generally just in wrestling, two of the best to have ever done it. From a technical point of view, and this is what we've got. It's frustrating. I mean, I try and take a silver lining out of it. At least we see them on TV rather than sat back doing nothing. But it's not exactly the most fulfilling that we get to see out of use of both Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. But good for Javon Evans.
Yeah, I think for Javon, this is just a starter feud on the main roster just to see what he can do, get him some reps in the ring. I don't think this is going to be something that's taken far. I mean, how far can you take a rivalry like this anyway?
Yeah.
I think it's very similar to what they did with Carmelo Hayes and The Miz. That was his like starting feud or whatever. Everybody has their starting feud on the main roster. And I think that's just what this is. Because I don't think that they have any other plans for Los Americanos either right now. I think they're literally just hoping Chad Gable is back very, very soon. Um, it would be kind of funny if Chad Gable just came back as Chad Gable. Like just forgot about the El Grande Americano stuff. But I highly doubt that's going to be the case. I did see a recent picture or video of Chad Gable on social media, and that guy
What?
is looking jacked.
How?
He
How? How more?
he is looking shredded. I mean, oh my goodness, man. Like
What? He had like a 0% body fat anyway.
I I don't even know what percentage it would be now because that man that
Negative
that man
body fat.
he's looking big and beefy right now. Um so that something like that would get Booker T very excited. Um we had Adam Pierce tell oh yeah, and then Javon Evans escaped an attack from Los Americanos. Da da da. Then backstage, Adam Pearce was telling Paul Heyman that if Braun Breaker shows up to cause chaos or shows up with bad intentions, you might as well just tell him to go home because Adam Pearce is not in the mood tonight. So we had that play around. That set up something later on in the night that we'll get into. But let's talk about this CM Punk promo because I was gonna skip over to the Braun Breaker stuff, but I know a lot of people like Steve want to hear what I have to say about this. So CM Punk comes out and he um, boasts a little bit about defeating not Finn Balor, Braun Breaker last week for the World Heavyweight Championship and to retain. And he says he looks forward to who his next challenger is going to be, and that sparks Finn Balor to come out. Now, I didn't expect this actually, even after the earlier segment with him and Liv. I thought, maybe he has something else in mind, or we'll figure it out like next week or the week after or whatever. But Finn Balor interrupts and says, he tells Punk, he says, "You said my name among people you want to face." And Punk says, "Well, you're right, but that was also 2 months ago. Where have you been?" They have a war of words, and it leads to them agreeing on a match next week for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I am glad everybody's happy that Finn Balor's getting a world title shot. I'm glad that everybody's happy that Finn Balor's facing CM Punk. Um, but realistically, this is a guy who we've been calling, or the IWC has been calling, Pin Balor for months. And all of a sudden, he walks out to the ring and gets in the face of the champion, and that's how you get a championship match. Doesn't make sense to me. They could have at least had Finn Balor win a match tonight that set up him versus Punk next week. At least, at the very least. Um, or, I don't know if they have any plans for Punk at Saturday night's main event, but you could have just done this match there. I think that would have been fine. But I am assuming that match ends in some sort of disqualification, and Finn Balor gets screwed over again. Maybe Braun Breaker gets involved. I know, actually, no, he probably won't because of what happened later on. But I, I don't understand what Finn Balor did to deserve a title opportunity. As much as I love Finn Balor, he really realistically hasn't done anything to earn a title shot against CM Punk. And that's where I'm a little bit lost on. Um, yeah, I just wish that we had more of people earning title shots and, you just walk out to the ring and, get in the champion's face and um that's how you get a title shot.
Okay, that wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's fine. Because typically, I mean, like I've said this, like I joked around with you in the live, being like, "Ah, shut up, just enjoy it." Because on the one hand, I'm like, "Oh, it's Finn Balor and CM Punk," but you're right. It's not like Finn Balor's been credible for the longest time, which sucks to say. I adore Finn Balor, but he hasn't. I think he's. Oh, I might have seen the stat. I might be completely wrong. I think he holds the most pinfall losses in 2025, potentially. I think I've seen that somewhere.
He's up
So
there. I know that.
he's definitely got to be up there. Which is like crazy when you actually look at Finn Balor and kayfabe. Um, Look, I agree in the fact that like I reckon we could have done something, especially because a lot of the show there were just filler backstage segments. I understand why they are doing it where they're doing it, even though CM Punk totally got the countries mixed up. It's fine. Uh, it's okay. Punk Wade Barrett corrected you on commentary. But he's for the majority in a home territory, not the exact home territory, but close enough, I suppose. Um, the one thing I will say, I do like the fact that it got people excited. It's got me excited. Do I think Finn Balor's going to win? No. Did I think Drew McIntyre was going to win? No. No, I'll say yes. There's more of a chance of Drew winning, I think, than Finn Balor has of winning. Um, but this is what I think is good about what they did with Drew and Cody. Not just for Drew and Cody, it completely blows open the door of what we think is going to happen. Anything is possible now. Again, I think Punk's going to win. Which I think would be very, very, and which I think makes more sense. I'm just got to read what Steve said. Maybe Dom cross Finn next week. They have a back and forth till tonight's main event. Then Demon Finn versus Punk there. Now, I originally said maybe Dom, but I think Phoebe brought up a good point of Finn saying to Punk, don't worry about Dom, don't worry about JD. So maybe signifying that he is going to try to do it alone. I mean, I don't know if it's something you want to talk about here, Josh, but I'll just jump into it. Obviously, Steve did bring up, I think, an interesting point in my life was what if just out of the blue we got Demon Balor back, which would be absolutely, I think, kind of nutty. As long as Balor, and he said this on Cody's podcast, that he's happy to bring the Demon back as long as he has creative control over it. Because, and I agree with him, it's quite nice to hear that he obviously realizes this, that the Demon wasn't handled well in the main roster. It wasn't at all. It really put a bit of an asterisk around Finn Balor, the man, saying that he can't get the job done compared to the Demon. Um, so I think it'd be really interesting. I don't think that's going to happen personally. I think they'll. I mean, to be fair, I know he said he'd be happy to do it. I just don't at the minute, especially with the role that Finn Balor plays. I don't see the Demon coming out. But it's certainly an interesting thought, and this is my point about that Drew Cody match. The current landscape that we're in, anything is possible at the minute, which makes it so much more entertaining. But I do agree with what you said at the beginning. That yes, I think there's probably a world where we could have had Finn win something here, like as you said, like a fatal four way, something like that, to just put a bit more or less filler in on the show. But I'm certainly looking forward to the match. I will be watching it very, very interested in what's going to happen. And again, I can't argue that they've done their job though, because they've promoted interest for the show, and now I'm incredibly interested in this match.
If this match were happening on a PLE, I'd say there's a better chance at seeing the Demon there.
Mm.
But this is happening on a Monday Night Raw, and I get that it's in Ireland, but realistically, more often than not, WWE doesn't care if it's your hometown. They will have you lose, and they will have you like they sometimes they'll have you lose in the worst way.
This
Um,
is look at Drew McIntyre.
exactly. But I don't think we're gonna see the Demon next week. I think that's just gonna be Judgment Day Finn Balor. Or maybe like a little bit of hints at babyface Finn Balor potentially because like you said, I think he's just gonna go at it alone. I
Mm.
think that's what he meant by his little statement there to CM Punk. Um, he's gonna go at it alone. Um, in terms of Dom costing him, there's no real reason for, unless it's an accidental
Yeah.
costing him, like if he tries to help Balor but, doesn't. But again, we've seen that play out so many times and they still manage to keep the Judgment Day together. So, in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that this match is going to matter in a couple months. Um, I think this is just a matter of Raw is in Ireland. Let's get Finn Balor in a major match, and why not have him go against CM Punk? And let's get fans excited that Finn Balor could potentially win a world title when it's just going to be another case of either DQ finish or Punk just outright retains against Balor.
Yeah, and I think you are 95% correct there. Because that is most likely what's going to happen. They said this is why I think what they did was so smart the other week because they have opened that door, just a little bit, that door with Drew and Cody, that anything is currently possible. Again, if I was putting money on it, I would put my money on Punk to retain. And I agree with you. I think the most likely outcome of this, as you said, come 5 weeks from now, we'll have forgotten this match even happened. Which is really unfortunate to say. I don't want it to be that way. It's what we've been led to believe and just what we've seen on our screens. But there is the little bit, and this is why, as I keep going back to it, is they've given me the interest and the reason to care in this match because of that. And again, it's nothing that Punk and Finn did. It's all down to what they decided to do with Drew and Cody. Um, so yes, what you say? I think you are probably 99 times out of 100 correct, probably that it's going to happen. But there is that chance. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could, and that's what's got me interested in the match.
Yeah, I mean, like again, like you said, anything can happen in pro wrestling, right? Like we saw that with Drew McIntyre. I just think, and I think you mentioned this earlier as well. It's a very different scenario with Drew and Finn Balor.
Hmm.
With Drew, this is a guy that, has been screwed over multiple times, and going into that title match with Cody, it just made the most sense for Drew to win that title there. But like we saw with the Braun Breaker and CM Punk match, it made sense for Braun Breaker to win the world title there, but they didn't do that, and um, realistically, where does WWE go if Finn Balor does win the world title next week? Because and I use this example with the Becky and Maxine thing. If they have the option of having CM Punk walk into WrestleMania as world champ and Finn Balor, they're more than likely gonna choose CM Punk. That's their guy. That's the guy everybody loves, and chants his name any arena he walks into. They're gonna go with CM Punk. Even like, is it possible Finn Balor wins it for like a short amount of time? Maybe, but I am not going to put any faith into that happening, especially when it comes to CM Punk.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was just thinking that I wonder if there's merit in we're talking months, if not over a year down the line now, and if they are wanting to test out, brought up earlier this potential babyface Finn Balor. I can see obviously Steve talking about we need a proper Judgment Day implosion. Wonder if it came out on the other side. I mean, Stu brought it up, I think, on pitches for 2026. Wanting to see a proper babyface Finn Balor. We've seen that in NXT last year, that we tease on. It was so nice to see again. I wonder if there's merit in a potential idea that I brought up about Dom becoming Mr. Money in the Bank, going on to win the World Championship, and then that's when we see babyface Balor and Dom like proper go at it potentially. And we're talking ages down the line now. I think it comes down back to the fact I think a lot of people, and I say this all the time, I hate nostalgia because I get clouded on it all the time. I talk about it all the time with Sami Zayn. As we learned, I know Steve's not a fan of Sami Zayn. Phoebe's certainly not a fan of Sami Zayn. And it's like I'm still clouded on that 2014, 15, 16 Sami Zayn that I want to see finally win that world title. And I think still have that for Finn Balor. Like, I remember seeing him win that Universal title and was so happy. I don't think I've ever had the air leave the room more when he came out on Raw the next night with his arm in a sling. And I was like, oh, God, when I seen it. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. So there's part of me that just wants to see it happen. But you are correct. I just don't have the faith that they are. And as you said, like, what do they do right now? you know, what do they do now if Balor wins it? Where do we go from here? Don't get me wrong, we don't know, and that's the whole thing. That's the amazing thing of wrestling, and people like to pretend they do. We don't know what's going on in that writers' room. We don't know what's on the storyboard that's going to be in WWE Unreal for the plans for WrestleMania or for the upcoming year. Um, we could be completely wrong, but just from what we are seeing in front of us, is it's the only bit of media that we have to digest. What we've been led to believe that there's nothing here for Finn Balor, and he won't win. I am still excited for the match. Plus, it's Punk and Balor. I'm still excited for the match. I think it'll be a great match. But with you, I don't see Balor winning this.
Yeah, neither do I. Uh, um, Speaking of someone I don't see winning something, Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch are set up for a Women's Intercontinental Championship rematch next week in Ireland. Again, this was just a means of like this match really didn't need to happen, but it's because it's in Ireland. They want Becky Lynch on the card. That's fine. It's whatever. Becky Lynch is going to retain next week. Becky Lynch had a vignette where she sent a warning to Maxine Dupree. Maxine Dupree had an interview with Jackie Redmond where she said she is going to break the ankle of Becky Lynch. That title is not going back onto Maxine Dupree. I think Becky is very much holding that until WrestleMania now. And we're just awaiting AJ Lee. I don't understand why we couldn't get more dates for AJ. Because I know that her next scheduled appearance is all the way till the Royal Rumble. So I really, really hope that we're not just running Becky and Maxine over and over again until the Rumble, because that would be bad. Like there's other women on the Raw roster that you can have Becky Lynch go up against. I know a lot of them are in the tag division, but like if you really wanted to, Ivy Nile is a fresh face for Becky Lynch. Um, I can't think of anybody else. That's it. Ivy Nile. So and everybody else is in the tag division. So it is what it is. I just hope that they can figure something else out potentially. For Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree. Maxine Dupree had a very, we were talking about this, had a very 90s look tonight. A
Mhm.
very Stranger Things look is the example that we used. Because yeah, it was the hair, it was the outfit, it was the
Yep.
everything. Yeah, she looked great tonight. Um, well, yeah, what are your thoughts on this Maxine Dupree, Becky Lynch stuff?
I was just laughing because I'm thinking, of what am I going to say after it comes to my turn? And it's exactly what you said. And then my brain also came to the decision or the realization you said. Because I was like, I mean, I enjoy Maxine. I love Becky. And the match, sure, the match has been fun. Like, also not, I don't think they're like amazing, but they've been good fun. But as you said, I was a bit like, oh, can we not do someone else? I went, who else have we got? I went, Ivy now. And I went, but she's a mean heel. Who else have we got as babyface? Oh, it's just Maxine. Okay, that's why we're running this back. I guess the question is, do we finally see the return of Natty here? Because have teased it. How it coming out? I don't think we do. Personally, I don't think we do it outside of the state slash Canada, whatever you want to say. Um, but yeah, this is the issue. As you said, the tag team division is cool and all, but it's really, really showing the gaps that we have right now. I think a perfect example we said is, what if we could chuck a Blake Monroe or something in here? I think we talked about having Blake versus Becky. And we're like, oh, that would be cool. Becky versus Saul. There we go, Steve. Someone. We're very, very thin on the ground right now on Raw. I mean, even look at the well, we'll get onto it, but the World Championship picture is two women at the minute. That's all we've got. Because they're all in the tag division. And whilst yes, the tag division is cool to see, it very much does take a burden on the show and also on the people's title reigns. So yeah, Becky isn't this at all. I'm 100% with you.
With Sol Ruka, I think NXT is going to hang on to her a little bit longer because I think that she is going to be the next NXT Women's Champion. Um, because I think that they do want JC Jane and potentially the rest of Fatal Influence on Monday Night Raw. Again, we've talked about that before with the whole like Lainey Reed situation, but maybe she'll learn on the fly. But yeah, with Becky, um, there's really nobody. And like, yeah, maybe you got to call up somebody like Blake Monroe. I know Blake Monroe also said she wants to feud with Liv Morgan. So I want to assume that she's gonna be on Monday Night Raw anyway. But if she wants to feud with Liv, Blake may be coming on to Monday Night Raw as a babyface potentially. Which
Mm.
is a bit weird because I
Yeah.
don't know how the glamour gimmick is going to work with her as a babyface, but we'll see where the road takes us. Maybe they keep her heel and they do something different. But you know, Blake versus Becky is definitely something I'd be down for. It's new, it's fresh, and um, I will always appreciate new and different. Especially when it comes to the WWE because they tend to do the same thing over and over again a lot of the time. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, that's that. Um, we had Raquel Rodriguez come out with an interview with for an interview with Michael Cole. And Michael Cole was asking her, you know, why did you attack Stephanie Vaquer? She's hurt. She has a hurt ankle, not angle.
A hot angle.
Hurts angle. Has a hurt ankle. And Raquel Rodriguez pretty much says, well, I don't give a damn about her hurt ankle. And then Stephanie Vaquer comes out, stares her down. And then Raquel is taken to the back. And then Stephanie's talking to the camera and saying that I'm ready whenever, because clearly that was a lie because she got blindsided by Raquel Rodriguez. And Raquel attacked the ankle more. I don't know about this injury. I really don't know. There is no way if she is actually hurt, they are letting her. And I know we saw the picture of how Steph's foot looked, but makeup is a very real thing. Um, I don't know because there's no way they're letting her target the ankle if it's that hurt, let alone take any bumps. If she was really hurt, that title would be vacated. And I think this is similar to the Sol Ruka situation. Maybe she's a little bit banged up, but she's okay enough. It may be a situation like that. Um, but yeah, I'm very curious as to where this is going and the health of Stephanie Vaquer because we haven't heard anything about you know her injury if it's you know legitimate or anything like that. So I'm going to assume that it's maybe not as bad as some people may think and they're just not going to say anything about it. I really don't know.
Yeah, I think we could potentially be looking at your new women's world champion in the not so distant future right now. Because I'm with you. I think there's an element of legitimacy to it, but as you said, like I don't think it's as bad. Like I said, a perfect example is like look what happened with like, Rhea Ripley when she had the women's world heavyweight champion. She just got thrown into a wall and like the next night had to vacate, like because it was done.
Yeah.
Um, it's we've seen it. I mean, again, it's a similar, but on the other side, right now with Dom, obviously his injury, whilst he's injured, isn't bad enough for them to go, okay, we're gonna have to vacate. But it's also bad enough to keep him off of TV. Where Steph is also allowed to be on TV at the minute and taking bumps. So I wonder if she does have a wee bit of an injury, but this is a potential way to because we've seen it with WWE. Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with it because of how much we've seen it. But I wonder if it's a way that we see to take that title off of Stephanie while still keeping her somewhat strong. We've seen it recently. Obviously, one I get a guess example was Saul with the which one did she lose the Speed Championship?
She
I
lost
can't
this
remember.
the speed title, yeah.
Yeah, the Speed one. Then before that, we've seen it with Tiffany, with Jade. Then before that, we've seen it with Jey Uso versus Gunther. It's obviously a formula WWE seems to like. Whether or not I like them continuously using this formula, no, because it's quite tried and tested at the minute, and it's very much okay. We know what's going to happen. But maybe it's with what they do, and then they go with Raquel because Raquel. I mean, that promo again that Raquel cut, I thought was fantastic. She's very much been on fire at the minute. Um, And I know you've heard me say it before. I know also we'll eventually get into a proper one. I think Liv Morgan is certainly up there as a potential candidate for the Women's Royal Rumble winner. Maybe we do Liv and Raquel at Mania at some going down the road. So I don't know. I'm with you. It is very much up in the air. We have to wait and see. But I would not be surprised if before the month is over we see Raquel Rodriguez as your new Women's World Champion.
Kurt Angle in the Rumble confirmed. Thanks, Josh, for the spoiler. Yeah, that man should not be in any sort of ring right now. I mean, it's always Kurt Angle is always cool. He's always a good guy. But he shouldn't be wrestling anymore. My brain is all over the place. But you know what? It's okay. It's always all over the place. I've had a very hectic weekend. Um, Someone who had a very hectic night in Germany was Dragon Lee. Because Dragon Lee and Penta did beat the Vision, but by disqualification because Braun Breaker got out of his dog cage and absolutely put Dragon Lee in a body bag. Just decimated Dragon Lee. This man didn't need another spear. This man could have sold it till like the end of the night. I would have been fine if Dragon Lee just laid there for the rest of the show. That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Um, because oh man, Braun Breaker, why is this guy not a world champion? Why did he not win the world title last week? And why are we doing this? What are we gonna get now? Braun Breaker versus Adam Pearce next week? Like, come on, man. Um, Look, I still feel like Braun Breaker should be world champion, but it is what it is. We'll leave that there. Braun Breaker interrupts in the tag match between the Vision and Lucha Bros Light, Dragon Lee, and Penta. Um, so that turned into a whole thing with the Vision tearing apart Penta and Dragon Lee. Adam Pearce got in the face of Braun Breaker, and then Braun Breaker puts his hands on Adam Pearce, and then gets him in the corner. The Vision had to separate him, and we went backstage where Adam Pearce suspended Braun Breaker indefinitely, and Paul Heyman says that was a mistake because you put your hands on Braun Breaker first. So I think we're going to be having the funeral of Adam Pearce very soon when Braun Breaker comes back. Because man, Breaker's going to snap Adam Pearce in half, isn't he?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, she's just jumped. I was gonna say first, I need to apologize for my rabbit that decided to climb up the side of the cage here. She might go back up into.
I'm
She
not
might
even
jump.
on the
Yeah.
oh
You've seen the other side there. She's made a wee on YouTube debut. Yeah, this was so good. I loved it. Match was half decent. I mean the competitors in the match are all very very good, especially Dragon Lee and Penta, obviously. But man, that spear by Breaker, oh, as Cody likes to say, oh, um, that was incredible. Like, I just, it's so funny because I even said to you, I was like, oh, I can think of like last week, I was like, oh, I can think of reasons as to why, um, Punk should win and why Breaker should win. Ah, but you see stuff like this, I'm like, oh man, Braun Breaker should just give him the world. He's so good. And yes, that stuff with Adam Pearce was like legitimately scary. We're looking at Braun in the ring, like just blowing a gasket. So good. I am very, very intrigued to see where this goes. As you said, I think we could potentially see the funeral of Adam Pearce on Monday Night Raw. But then it's like, what happens then if Pearce gets taken out? And again, for his part, we said it as well. Adam Pearce as well. Like, I love angry Adam Pearce. It's so funny, but also really intense and good at the same time. Um, so yeah, this whole segment was fantastic. And then, as you said, that little bit at the end with Heyman saying, "You put your hands on him first." Let's go. Let's go, champ. Do you feel
uh
him, sir?
no, but Dragon Lee felt it. Indeed, he did. Um, I kind of want Braun Breaker to say F the suspension and just go on a tear. I want him to
Yeah.
interrupt in not every single match, but I want it to, like come out maybe like, I
Women's
don't know.
IC belt title match. Spear Maxine out of her boots.
Oh my God. I don't know, maybe Apollo Crews and Otis have a match, and Braun Breaker comes out and spears them both.
Did you see Apollo Crews made his return on main event?
I did see that.
He's
I
back.
did. Oh man. Yeah, and then I don't think he's getting out of catering anytime soon, other if it's for a main event, which is unfortunate. I thought Apollo Crews was it
Oh
might be a
yeah, I'm
hot
with you.
take. I thought he was a world title talent at one point in time.
He was incredible.
Uh yeah. But I don't know. He seems very good at being able to tell us what food is good in catering now. That's no diss at Apollo Crews. I man, what a waste.
Yeah.
What a waste of talent from WWE. Um, we then went to the main event of the evening, AJ Styles versus Gunther. I was very surprised that we got this match on just a, kind of random Monday Night Raw. Very good match. You're not gonna get a bad match between these two. You could give these guys 6 to 8 minutes, they'll still put on a banger. This was very, very good. It's the ending that I
He-
couldn't I couldn't decipher on how I felt about it because I'm like, okay, maybe what I thought was gonna happen was worse than what did happen because I thought this was gonna be some sort of disqualification finish and then it was just gonna set up another match at Saturday night's main event. What they did instead is AJ Styles worked the left leg of Gunther throughout the entire match, kept putting on the calf crusher. Towards the end of the match, AJ had the calf crusher on Gunther, and Gunther tapped, but it was on the opposite side of where the referee was. So the initial camera angle didn't catch it, and the referee didn't see it. So AJ thought he had won. He got up, he celebrated, but the ref said he didn't see it. While the ref was turned around, Gunther delivered a low blow. Now, I this was very, very weird because AJ gets up, celebrates. The ref is confused as to why AJ's celebrating. And then Alicia Taylor goes to the ropes and the ref is telling her that it wasn't a tap out or whatever. Um, I don't know. It was just very weird. It was very weird. Like it didn't make any sense. Like the ref didn't call for the bell, so there's no reason for Alicia Taylor to think anything. Like it could have just been a matter of like the ref was like, no, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. And then Gunther just cheap shots him from there. We've This is a guy that made John Cena tap out, and Gunther needs to win by a low blow.
Mm.
A low blow. That's what we've done now. The guy who made the never give up guy give up wins by a low blow. And I think he delivered a power bomb after.
Yeah.
Um, but man, this was really, really weird, and I can't tell if this is worse than the disqualification finish or if this is a little bit better. But they're either way, they're gonna run this match back, and you guys know, I hate repeated matches unless it absolutely makes sense.
Yeah, right. I'm going to try and unpack this because obviously, if anyone listening knows, we are incredibly big fans of Gunther, particularly myself. He is like my child. I love that man. I think Steve said this kind of perfectly in the chat there. Parts of it make sense for the story because this isn't going to be the end of their story, but it just felt off. And I agree, and you again described it, I think, in the perfect way. It was just weird. Um, I think, like, because I was with you, I thought this was going to end in a DQ. I said this ends one or two ways when I did my preview, and it's not AJ Styles winning. Either Gunther wins, which I just thought I didn't think they were going to go down that route right away, like go like flat out clean win, or it's going to be DQ. That's how I seen it going. With this, with the way they've done it, it it opens up so many questions about kayfabe from both angles. I'll get into them in a minute. Um, Firstly, as you were saying, like, is this worse or better than a DQ finish? I guess at least with a DQ finish, you could have Gunther look like a bit of a dick, a bit of a cowardly dick, but like could play off of it. Um, but this just made, I don't know, just that even though he won, I feel like this just made Gunther look weirdly weak. As you said, like you had this guy who tapped out John Cena, then you've got AJ Styles, basically getting him to tap out and he has to low blow. I found it was so weird. But if you want to talk about this on kayfabe from both angles, firstly, this is a really dumb decision by Gunther to tap out. Because even if he goes, oh, but I knew the ref wasn't watching, haven't we had matches before where that's happened? The refs made a decision, and because they've something they've not seen, and then other refs have came down and they've told the ref and they've changed their mind. I
Yeah,
swear that
absolutely.
that's something we've had. So if that was to happen in kayfabe, that makes Gunther look like the biggest idiot on the planet. For doing that. So this, as we said, this is the guy that a month ago tapped out John Cena. Um. Yeah, when this first happened, I was like, that was weird. The more I've sat in it, and we're going on almost an hour since it's happened, I just think it was a bit bad. And I just kind of, as you said, match was great because of course it was Gunther and AJ Styles. I just kind of wish we hadn't done it. I wish we'd done. Obviously, I understand them wanting to put Gunther on there, but I kind of wish we'd just done something else with someone else and just had Gunther win clean. Because this just again offers up a lot more questions about kayfabe and the storytelling that I would rather not have surrounding Gunther at the minute. We already have the stink of him tapping out to Jey, so the kind of lingering. I didn't like this.
Steven says bad ending in my opinion. I guess it kind of made sense for the story, but just
Yeah.
felt off. Didn't make sense at all. I am very under the assumption now that not the assumption, the thought process of that didn't make sense. And Rue just explained it perfectly as to why it didn't. Because there's so many cases where exactly we've had referees come down before. I didn't even think of that. But we have had referees come down before and be like, oh, no, he tapped out. If this was the Vince McMahon era, we'd be getting a lumberjack match to as the second match. But that's not the case. I don't think that's going to be the case. I can't even remember the last time we've gotten a lumberjack.
Yeah, I low-key love a lumberjack match before you say it. It's so dumb. What about the zombie match? We had the zombie
Oh my
lumberjacks.
gosh. God, don't remind me of those times. Um, So yeah, this was I didn't like this ending. The match was good. The match was fine. But this ending is very weird. What I would have done is AJ Styles is set for TNA Impact this week on the AMC debut. He's returning to TNA. What I would have done is you could have had Gunther win here but beat the ever hell out of AJ Styles. And because TNA is kind of a different universe, um, you have AJ go over to TNA, you have him do a feud or so. Maybe he feuds with Frankie Kazarian for the TNA World title. Maybe he feuds with, like, I don't know, maybe somebody in the system. He feuds with somebody in TNA. He gets a couple more matches in TNA, because he is retiring this year. And then, maybe around the chamber time and the lead up to WrestleMania potentially, whenever he wants to have his final match, he comes back, and him and Gunther have one more go at it. And that's how you get to the second match. Whereas this, I think we're just gonna have this match again at Saturday night's main event. But if you have AJ Styles go away for a little bit, go to TNA, have him do some stuff there, and really get some eyes on TNA because it's a partnership, WWE. Um, get some eyes on TNA, and then have AJ come back for the match with Gunther. And whatever the result is, pick your poison. Um, you have them do that whenever. I obviously it's not gonna be a WrestleMania thing. Maybe it's something you did do on the road to WrestleMania. Maybe at the Chamber potentially, or maybe you do it at like the night after WrestleMania, and that's where AJ retires. I just feel like something along those lines would have been a better route to take for AJ and Gunther.
Yeah, I mean, I actually quite like the TNA. Get Gunther on TNA, let's do it. Why not? Um, just comes in and just, hey, to be fair, if Gunther went to TNA, he would squash every single person on that roster.
That's not what I meant. I meant AJ goes over to TNA.
Yeah, I know it. I'm changing it. I want Gunther on TNA. And he beats
Gunther
Frankie
and
Kazarian.
Moose. I'll take Gunther and Moose.
Actually, I would as well. Yeah, I was only joking, but now I want that. You've said it. You've said it. You've ruined it. No. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm starting to question now whether or not Gunther actually does retire AJ Styles. Because as you said, the whole thing was that AJ was going to retire at some point this year. I can't imagine it's going to be like this early into the year. I know we're not getting like a John Cena type run, but I kind of maybe this is just a me thing. I kind of pictured it being slightly later on in the year. Maybe when you get towards the likes of Bound for Glory time, or whatever for TNA. So I don't actually think Gunther is going to be the one to retire AJ. So I guess we'll wait and see. Yeah. Long story short, I'm with you. I just don't think this was executed that well. Again, match was great because it's AJ and Gunther. Because of course it is. But yeah, this just gives more questions than it really answers, and I just don't think it helps. Was particularly Gunther anymore. I mean, AJ Styles doesn't need it because AJ Styles, but Gunther particularly after coming off that stuff with John Cena, this is his first big feud out of it, and you've already got a visual of him tapping out. And again, he might be like, "Oh, but I knew the ref wasn't there." But then that comes back to the point I said, saying, "But that's a really dumb decision to do because if the ref had another ref come down and called it, you look like the biggest idiot on the planet." So I just don't think that justification makes any sense here. I guess all we can do is we always say is wait and see. But no, I love everything that Gunther touches. This is one of the few times I was like, this was bad. I didn't like this.
Gunther retires TNA.
Yes,
Is
I
what
like
Steven
that.
says.
I like that.
He just retires the entire roster. I think it's very possible AJ Styles has his final match in TNA.
I think so too.
And I think it's almost inevitable that we get a Frankie and AJ matches. I don't think it's gonna be for the
Mm-hmm.
TNA World Title because I think Frankie's losing that on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but maybe we'll get AJ and Santana as well, who I
Mm-hmm.
think is going to be the TNA World Champion after this
Yep.
weekend. And if you are very confused as to why that is, I don't know if I'll be doing my Genesis predictions this week. We'll see where the podcast takes us. But uh, yeah, I think AJ Styles, he could potentially just be showing up on TNA tonight to announce a mini retirement tour. Not tonight,
Mm-hmm.
this Thursday
Yeah.
to announce a mini retirement tour. And then, we got that teaser of a AJ Leon Slater match. So maybe there's more things he wants to do in TNA than in WWE. So um, I really the thing is delayed on YouTube, so I'm on YouTube. I just see a rabbit fall on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's done it multiple times during
I love
this.
seeing animals just so clumsy. It's the funniest thing in the world to be. Yeah, it's very delayed over on YouTube, so I just saw that happen.
Yeah, that happened a while ago as well.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think that AJ Styles is going to spend some time in TNA on his route to retirement. I'm with you though. I don't think Gunther's going to be his final opponent at this rate. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if they're doing it this early.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think going back to the that's true. Well, I think, but going back to the AJ thing, I actually with you. I've just from how this has played out. Because I don't think there's anyone in WWE unless they wanted to. Oh God, I can't even think who could be the one to retire AJ. Whereas I think TNA just that makes poetic sense. As you said, we've had like the teaser for him and Leon. I think that's a match we're definitely getting at some point. It's him and Leon. If there's one match that we'll be getting in say a mini TNA retirement tour, I would say him and Leon, and then next him and Kazarian. Those are the two that I think are almost locked in for what do you think AJ Styles will do? Um, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm down to see it, and as you said, I'll add definitely interest to TNA because, as you pointed out quite bluntly, it's a partnership, and I don't see much partnershiping going on at the minute. Especially when you're having TNA guys lose to Evolve guys or guys who can't even get on Evolve. But yeah, I know I'm trying to go with this, but yeah, I totally agree. I don't think that's right, as you said. That Gunther is going to be AJ's final opponent. Which okay, cool. Can we at least still keep Gunther not looking like a goon, please? Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, it makes me curious as to who AJ's final opponent in WWE is going to be. I can imagine they may want to run Randy and AJ again before he retires. Potentially we get that. We just got to see where the road takes us, but yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to be Gunther anymore if they're doing this feud this early. Because I can imagine that AJ Styles is going to still do WrestleMania this year and it's going to be his last WrestleMania and they're going to have something there for him. Um, it'll be pretty interesting. You know what? I wouldn't mind, Rue? I wouldn't mind
tell me.
because this is a partnership, right, with TNA. I wouldn't mind Mike Santana versus AJ Styles for the TNA World Championship at WrestleMania.
It was so funny. Not the match, I couldn't predict that, and that is also what I'd like to see. That was something that was always in the back of my mind. I think we might actually see a TNA World Championship match in Mania this year. That was always in the back of my mind. And as you said, I'm with you. I totally think Santana's winning that belt. Genesis, I think he's taking off a Kazarian. Um, so I'm in.
Yeah.
Are you?
I am. I am. You know what? Let's talk about TNA quickly.
Okay.
Because we're done running down Monday Night Raw. This Thursday, yeah, like we mentioned, Santana and Kazarian are facing for the TNA World Championship. Um, I hate how TNA did this. And we'll keep this brief so like the people watching after the fact is like, I don't want to hear about TNA. I'm a WWE guy. I'm here to watch Monday Night Raw. Uh, but I think what's gonna happen is Santana's gonna beat Kazarian on Thursday, and then on that Thursday, Nick Nemeth is going to cash in and win the TNA World Title. And just 2 days later at Genesis, because for some reason they have the AMC debut on Thursday, and then a pay-per-view just 2 days later, when they could have just easily done a TV special on Thursday for Genesis and the AMC debut, because you need to make that matter. Um, and then I think it's just going to be Nemeth and Santana at Genesis. That's probably the worst route that they could take, but it's probably the route that they are going to take. And then Santana's probably just going to end up winning the title back there.
Yeah, you know what? I got my matches and dates completely mixed up because I forgot that was even a thing. Just thinking, oh yeah, it'll just be Genesis, forgetting all the extra bit in the middle. And I can totally see that happening because LOL TNA. That's just LOL TNA. That I mean it would make Mike Santana what a three-time TNA champion in the space of about 2 months.
Yep.
Which would be quite funny. Um shit. Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like you said, LOL TNA, right?
Yeah.
But it's okay. I love TNA. I have a lot of people in TNA that I love. So shout out to you guys. But man, what do you like you could have done a TV special on Thursday. Why do we have to have two separate events in 2 days? Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Um, But anyway, this was the Monday Night Raw post-show review. Thank you to everybody in the chat who sent in the chat. Shout out to Steven, everybody else who was in the chat as well, and showed their support. I saw a few likes get thrown in there, so thank you to everybody who double tapped. I don't even know if that's the thing on YouTube or tap the like button on the live. I appreciate everybody doing that and showing their support. We are almost at 100 subscribers.
I was gonna say that.
Um, so, I'm just gonna put that out there into the universe. But yeah, I will be back on Wednesday for the Dynamite post show. But make sure you guys keep a lookout for the interview I did with Ref Karen tomorrow. That is dropping tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. So I think that's pretty late in UK time. That's what 11.
Yes.
So 11 p.m. UK time. In case any UK guys are interested in that, because my second most viewing is from the UK. So um, if anybody is interested in that, then make sure you guys go check that out tomorrow. And then obviously the Brian Samuels interview on Thursday. Ru, where can these people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Raw on Wrestling on TikTok and on YouTube. I'll be live for pretty much all SmackDowns and PLEs at the weekend over on Twitter Live for WWE, and I also do AEW, TNA, ICW, whatever the hell AAA as well. And at the minute, whilst the European tour is going on, I'll also be live for Monday Night Raw like I was tonight, so you can find me over there.
Sweet. Steven, thank you again. You are always welcome here on the post-show reviews whenever we do them. So we appreciate your support a lot. That is going to do it for us for this post-show review. We will see you guys on the next one. And until then, take it easy. Sweet.
Us, ooh. Oh,